Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of Beyond the Headlines Year-Ender Special. My name is Amalina Kamal.
And I'm K. Rajan from the Sport Desk.
And we're from the new Straits Times. Now, for today, in this particular episode, we will be talking more on, the developments that we have seen for the past year in sports entertainment. Now, Rajan himself is a sports writer. Maybe, Rajan, you can give a little preamble in terms of what, top stories that broke the news in sports.
Okay, 2023 is actually a very crucial year for Malaysian sports. We had Asian Game, we had the SEA Games, and then we had the World Cup qualifiers, and then all this is a build-up for the Paris Olympics next year, 2024. So a lot of things have happened in Malaysian sport this year, and it will be continuing to the next year where the highlight would be the Paris Olympic and the Asia Cup in January.
Are you excited for that specifically,
yes.
for the Paris Olympics?
Yes, Paris Olympics. We have not won a gold medal. We have been trying for so long. That's a dream. As for football, we are in the Asian Cup after 42 years on merit. So it is something that everyone is looking forward to. It's going to be an exciting 2024 when it comes to sports.
Well, we're definitely going to be talking about that more, right? Our Road to Goal campaign, our football, especially with JDT's dominance. But before that, let's introduce our guest on set. First, of course, to talk more on sports and sharing his expert insights is Dr. Ramlan Abdul Aziz, senior sports medicine specialist, in which reporters always refer to or go to for his take. And he was also formerly the National Sports Council Director General and the Anti-Doping Agency of Malaysia Director. Welcome, Dato'.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Yeah.
We're glad that you're here with us to talk about,
Thank you.
sports. Also, together with us here on the set, we have Tahir Al-Hamzah, our entertainment reporter.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes. We want to know more later in the second half of this particular episode, everything that trended in entertainment. Of course, the only reason why we did sports and entertainment together, because in the past year we saw a lot of overlap. So my first question would be, you talked about SEA Games, right? Maybe you can share first in terms of our athletes' performances and how have they come along in terms of, their medal target.
Okay, of course, the SEA Games was deemed as the first failure from the ministry, MSN, this year. It was in May. We returned with 34 golds, 45 silver, 97 bronze, and we missed the 40 gold medal target in Cambodia. Yes, a lot of disappointment, but if you look at the process of hitting or failing the target, it all began long before the games itself. SEA Games are a biennial event. The process always starts 2 or 3 years earlier from the previous SEA Games and build up to the actual SEA Games of that year. We are coming off from COVID. There was an issue there, and then we have athletes who are not qualified or not at their games. Their sports were not hosted at the Cambodian SEA Games, and then we had issues with preparation, and then the direction, and then always the major issue was sports that not a traditional sport for Malaysia. The sports that we are good at was not offered at the SEA Games in Cambodia. These are the problem that always comes with the SEA Games, where the host decides on the sports they want to host, and the other countries who have better in the sports they are good at not being hosted. So that's why SEA Games is not actual a proper gauge to see where our athletes the standards are.
Maybe you can detail, just for the sake of our audience knowledge, the type of sports that you mentioned that was not hosted in SEA Games that we could have, excelled.
Okay, if we see sports that I can recall, snooker, we didn't have much events, if I'm not mistaken. And then also bodybuilding was not there. We had a world champion and Asian champion, so we missed out gold there. The other sports that we are good at, I think we didn't have shooting, if I'm not mistaken, shooting or archery.
But okay, how is that as compared to the Asian Games? and how our athletes performed during that particular competition.
Asian Games is the second biggest game in the world after Olympics. Just because it's Asian, people don't see that the standard there is very high. As usual, China was the powerhouse there. They are powers in the Olympic. We reached our medal target there. We did well. The sports that are in Olympics, I can say our sailor Nur Shazrin Latif, she won a gold medal and qualified for the Olympics in Paris, which is very promising. These are high level athletes, high level tournaments, high level competition, which the direction is towards the Olympics. And if we look at the achievement, I think we did better than the 2018 Indonesia Asian Games. Let me check what else were good there. Our cyclists, we didn't have Azizul. Dato' Azizul Hasni had an injury in training. He was not there. But our backup to him, Shafi Daus, did well. He won a silver. So heading towards or gearing towards Olympic, our athletes did exceptionally well. They showed promises. Maybe except badminton, we didn't get a bit of preview of what's going to happen in Paris Olympics. The qualifier is still there. This Hangzhou Asia is a stage where our athlete proved that how much the gap for them to reach the Olympics. That what I see lah.
Right, so it's like a precursor of
yes.
sorts. I see. Because you talked about athletes' performance and everything. I'm just curious in terms of post-pandemic how it fares, and then you talk about high-level athletes, high-level performances. Maybe Dato' also you can weigh in on this. Like, in what ways did the post-pandemic context impact athletes' performances?
We can rightly cite the pandemic as something that put the spanner in the works in terms of what we were trying to do. You can plan a 4-year cycle for the Olympics. I can speak about how you need to plan all of these things. But the pandemic was definitely something that disrupted a lot of the preparations. And in the beginning, we were struggling to cope with the disruptions and the physical distancing. So we had to actually start where people were, where the athletes they needed to go back to where they come from. And we were having online sessions for conditioning and all that. So we were working at a less than optimal level. That's in the first instance. But of course, if you cite that as the only factor, then everybody else suffered from the pandemic as well. You see, so you cannot continue to wave that white flag saying that we were disrupted by this, that, and the other with regard to the pandemic. My if I may comment about the medal targets thing, because I've never been comfortable with just straight ahead gold, silver, bronze targeting. Because to me, if you especially at the SEA Games, because from one SEA Games to another, it's like two different things, like two different planets, two different universes. In one games you have 10-pin bowling, the other games we did not have 10-pin bowling. We are good at 10-pin bowling. We've got world-class kegglers and all that. So definitely we were on the back foot. What was more revealing is that at the end of the SEA Games, the more recent one, we can see that Thailand, for example, sent more than, I think, 1,000 plus athletes, right?
Yeah.
1,000 plus.
Contingent.
Okay, we sent only 400?
Yeah,
500? Okay, just for the sake of discussion. The issue is how many percent of the 1,000 plus athletes won medals? Doesn't matter whether it's gold, silver, or bronze. It was very low, 7%, if I remember correctly. Whereas Malaysia, we had 12%. No, more than that, 20% or something like that.
22.
No, something like that. Yeah. So we had a higher percentage than Thailand. So what does that tell you? Because you cannot compare from one SEA Games to another, one edition of the SEA Games to another. But you need to see within yourself and your own setup, how well are we doing? Right. So I feel that in the end, how we analyze our own performance within, by comparing with other countries, but on a level playing field sort of, platform. Otherwise, we will end up always wringing our wrists, we're not doing well. Whereas you can base your future successes on your present successes, but you can also redeem yourselves by taking whatever failures or relative lack of success, if I may say so, to become a future success. Because every medal, the bronze and the silvers, can so easily be garnered as a goal in the future. You have to see how far behind we are from the others who actually won the gold.
Right.
So this is something that I feel is something that needs to develop. It's not just developing the athletes. The sports management side has to keep up with modern statistics, and all the metrics that people use to gauge not only success at a certain point, but also longitudinally along a certain number of years. The other problem that we face most of the time is that we are too SEA Games centric.
Yes.
We worry about the SEA Games because everybody wants to beat the chess in public,
Or is it because you think that, like, maybe why we worry about SEA Games, because that's a more achievable target because it's on a regional level?
Oh, that's not good. You know why? Because we're all looking for low-hanging fruit, right? Successes, big fish in a small pond sort of mentality. That is not what we're all about, isn't it? We've been aiming for our first gold medal at the Olympics for so long, and we're capable of doing that. It's just that there are always certain parts missing, certain things that we do, and the way we do it. For example, yes, when we start out looking at the Olympics, why we look at why are we looking at the Paris Olympics? We should be looking at the two Olympics beyond that as well. Okay, and in preparing for sports festivals, you prepare for the Olympics, right? You concentrate on that. Anything else that fall below, some of the festivals like the Asian Games, they have world-class athletes in badminton, right? In fencing, so on and so forth. Whereas at the Commonwealth Games, the badminton competition is not world-class, you see? So it's horses for courses. So when you do that, you will have to plan everything else for the Olympics, but when you configure everything else, you have to sort of play your cards right, in terms of preparing certain groups of athletes. There are three types of athletes, The ones who will go to the Olympics to vie for medals, to fight for a medal. And they will be in a position, yes?
Right.
Yeah. The second one is for them to be Olympians. They will never be good enough to win medals, but they're there because they were champions at SEA Games and all that. They qualified for the Olympics, and we have to honor them because of the service that they rendered over the years. So this is the second group. The third group is by invitation, the so-called wild card thing. It's not so wild, no? Because they are by invitation, because they have enough places and they will give regional and continental performers a chance to perform at the Olympics. So those are the three types. So if you want to win a gold medal, you really have to concentrate on the ones who are in the position to win a medal, yes? And on any given day, I think we need to look at the sports that we are good at. We are in a position to do so. So for example, now who would argue very strongly that would be in a position to win the gold medal in diving perhaps? No? Nobody would want to argue that. But if we say we have a chance in track cycling, okay, then we have a chance. Of course, badminton. But you see, badminton is something that I feel is we have all the elements that can lead us to success, but all of these elements have to be managed in a way that concentrate on the process rather than the outcome. You see, we are so outcome centric. We think if we don't win the gold medal, that means we are a failure. Yes, that's a fact. If you fail to win the gold medal, you have failed to win the gold medal. But from that failure, you must also know why you failed. And more tellingly, when we actually win something, we also fail to realize why is it that we had won something. You see, everybody is so busy celebrating, patting each other on their backs, without realizing that was it by providence, by chance, or is it by luck, good planning? By sheer luck, you win the gold medal. So you must know why you win something as much as why you lose. You see, so this is something that I feel is there's a lack of thought and realization, and it is something that is we need to, of course, change in terms of the culture of managing our national athletes and the athletes themselves. When they come to us after Sukma, they're already damaged as far as I'm concerned. You know why? Because they've got attitudes, practices in life that run counter to living an excellent life as a world-class athlete, you know.
Do you see that transpiring in this whole, RTG campaigning?
Look,
I know, because there's a lot of controversies surrounding it, right?
Look. At the end of the day, if you don't have a project like the Road to Goal RTG program, then people will cite you. Oh, why are you not doing this? It's a never-win situation, you know. So you do the best you can with the circumstances that you've got, the money that you have, and the people that you have, because that's what you've got. But you know, the whole thing is because if we concentrate just on the outcome, we want to get the gold medal. Everybody will say that, and rightly so. But what is the process of winning a gold medal? How do we get there? Like, for example, you take badminton, yes? Now, if we want to assess and audit their performances for every open that they are in, it's difficult, you know. You know why? Because they're constantly overseas, and so are their coaches. So when are we going to sit them down and say, can we analyze your performance? Where was the weakness? Was it physical conditioning, psychological, mental training? Was it, energy intake, whatever, from your food? Did you lack sleep? Will you had trouble? These are the myriad of factors, that affect an athlete's performance. And sometimes we think that we just have to throw money to make everything right. It is not. You have to understand the process first, in the first place. And then if you understand the process, and you must understand that when you invest in something like winning the gold medal, you cannot underinvest. This is something that we have to be careful. Because if we underinvest, that means we underprepare. Yes? But at the same time, the flip side of the coin, sometimes we throw money at things which are not necessary. So you have to really analyze what is it that goes on. And each sport is different. Track cycling is different, and the interface between man and machine. Yes? Between Azizul Hasni and his bicycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Rajan, I'm very curious in terms of your coverage for all this the Road to Goal campaign, and then looking at the developments of specific athletes. Was there a disconnect between what the National Sports Council want to achieve and what the athletes want to achieve?
I think when it comes to the target, I think both athlete and the MSN, National Sports Council, are on the same page. It's just that you have to see that athletes' preparation is supported by MSN. It still comes under their sports association, NSA, the National Sports Association. So I don't see the target being different. It's just the approach. MSN maybe is more focused, more structured expectations. When it comes to associations, some associations are not equipped to follow through what the National Sports Council wants. As for athletes, I think there's a good synergy, there's a good connection between the athletes and MSN and the coaches. So more or less, I would say everyone towards the Road to Goal in Paris, I think everyone's on the same page. It's just that we, like Dato' Ramlan said, the processes, have we strengthened the processes after so many cycles of Olympics? We having the same pitfalls. We are not fixing the problem that keep on appearing. I see that generational attitude, the way a group of athlete, a new group or old group of athlete, having different mental approach. There's more things to be dissected. As much as we want to achieve that gold medal in the Olympics, we need to look back where we are failing. We had a bunch of great athletes coming in and falling short. Again, it goes through the process. Are we repeating this process that causing us to fail to reach our target? That should be a concern. Building up to the 2028 LA Olympics.
I mean, I suppose echoing what Dato' Ramlan just saying, and don't look at the next Olympic Games. Okay, talking about promising athletes but having to fall short. Sometimes it comes internally as well. Macam, let's talk about Azizul Hasni's cycling triumph. We saw him in the, we saw his withdrawal from the Asian Games, and then we saw how remarkable his performance is in other competitions after his heart surgery. In terms of your coverage of him, where is he heading towards? Do you know the direction? He's our star boy, especially when it comes to sports. But a lot of us only get to know of him when there's a game. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay, Azizul is a generational talent. If he's born in US, Australia, or in Europe, this guy will be a global icon for the sports. Of course, in the cycling circle, he is an icon. He is an icon in Asia. I've seen athletes approach him and talk to him and learn from him. And he's a guy that superbly underrated in Malaysia. He's a joy to interview with. It's a joy to learn from him. And this guy, we have to keep in mind, he's 35. He have competed in 2-3 Olympics. He's always there to reach that gold medal. There's always something happening. He have faced so many obstacles, crashes. He just gets back and try to win. At age of 34, if I'm not mistaken, this year he won 2 gold medals in the Asian Championship, ACC Asian Cycling Championship in Nilai. It shows that was his first major tournament after his surgery. So I don't see him not doing anything to get that gold medal in Olympic. He's always a guy that, I don't know, inspiration for everyone. This guy is mentality monster. I don't know, maybe Dato can say,
Right.
for a guy who had a heart surgery and performing at that level at the age of 35. I've told John Beasley, his coach, that there should be some studies on him, how he can come out and replicate this performance pre-surgery and post-surgery. It's just around the same, and maybe Dato, you can share a bit on that.
Well, when he was at the Sekolah Sukan Bukit Jalil, that was some years before he became Asian Junior Champion and all that. We actually had the feeling that he was going to make it,
Wow.
We actually knew. Because we compared the figures. You see, cycling is you can measure things. The whole thing about track cycling is about power output over lean body mass. So his lean body mass is low. So the power output is high. So you can see the ratio over there. So we knew that he would be able to make it. Now, if there were some tests where we had a stack of mattresses up to his chin, yes, he was able to do a standing jump onto the stack of, went up to his chin. Just a standing jump. Can you imagine the power output that is generated from such a move? So we know he has the talent. And if you look at recent successes by other cyclists from other countries, like Sir Chris Hoy, when he won was it the carry or the sprint? I can't remember. But he was 36, when he won the gold medal at the London Olympics 2012. So who's to say that Azizul Hasni, right, can do the same as well? So the thing about him is that he's got his life settled. He's got a good wife, children that inspire him. So the thing about all of this, is that sometimes we forget that athletes have a life outside sports. We think that it's all about sports. That's all they think about. But certain things that happen in their lives will affect them in sports. We've had instances where people lost their girlfriend several days before the Olympics and went crashing down in the first round. It has happened before. So not mentioning names. But the most important thing is that we must train them to deal well with the sport and also their lives. We must get them to have a stable life so that then they can perform at their very best. This is something that sometimes we try to make the work easier for ourselves in dealing with athletes and coaches, right? We have a tight triangle: athlete, coach, and ourselves who support their performance, yes? Now, there are 2 aspects to this. Number 1 is program management, which is done by the National Sports Council. That's very important. Money comes from government, they have to make it work. The other bit is, people don't realize, is performance management. Performance management is all about the medical needs, the sports sciences in terms of the performance, and then injury prevention, anti-doping, so on and so forth. So these are the things that are done by the National Sports Institute. So the National Sports Council and the National Sports Institute have to come together to make it work. Now the association is the godfather, and of course the National Olympic Council, Malaysian Olympic Council, OCM. Now everybody have to pull their part, but make no mistake, the focus of the thing is on the athlete and his performance. Even the athlete is servant or slave to his performance, right? Everybody else is, if you're not doing it right, you're just merely basking in reflected glory. Right?
I mean, you mentioned that even the athlete is like a servant to his performance, and that puts a lot of pressure. Okay, then this tagline, don't crack under pressure. It's literally what you imagine an athlete is. Can you maybe explain in terms of, your time at the anti-doping agency in Malaysia? Because, you have to perform and you have this relationship with performance, right? So you can give us a little bit of and how far we've progressed, I suppose.
When I was director of the anti-doping, I couldn't see a patient for nearly 2 years, because they would be saying, "Oh, you're treating that patient, right? But yet you're going to test him, So there was conflicts of interest I had to stay away from. I didn't enjoy that period, to be honest with you, because I 30 years I work with athletes. Okay, so the most important thing right now is we're talking about pressure, right? So let's talk about pressure. There is good pressure and there's bad pressure. Bad pressure is when you have to deal with the pressure of outcomes, living up to outcomes. You must win the gold medal. How? Or, your coach will tell you, right? You ask the coach, how are you going to achieve this? Can I do this? Can I have more money? Can I have this, that, and the other? And then they say, oh, you can have this, that, and the other, but you can't have that. You can't have that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you do that, then you make the coach limping, walking with a limp, because he's not going to be able to get the best out of the athlete. Now, of course, we have to have reasonable figures, reasonable expectations. That's the same for everybody. Now, what is good pressure? Good pressure is when you focus on short-term goals towards a long-term goal. Now, this is a psychology sport that many of our psychology colleagues will work on for the athletes. Okay, but if they have to work against the expectation of winning the gold medal at all costs, they need to know how are we going to work the process to win the gold medal. So this is something that is ongoing. And to be honest with you, the longer they are at it, doing the sports sciences and all that, the better the prospect will be in terms of them getting it right. But the problem is we only throw sports science at them after SUKMA. There was a program in 2015. The ISN was working with the Ministry of Education, the bahagian pendidikan jasmani dan co-curriculum. Yes, the object at that point, we had a pilot project where we were going to test Standard 1 school kids. Now every year there are 500,000 more or less school kids coming into the system. Now we don't need to go into the jungle to find them; they're there at the schools. So we trained the teachers to test them. There was a battery of tests. So out of the first batch of athletes that we tested, 104,000, we got 21,000 that tested well enough to become, that we would expect to be at the top 5 to 10% of athletes, for the future. So then after that, they have to be trained. It's called multilateral development training. Athletics, running, jumping, throwing, right? Swimming, and gymnastics, such. So you know why? Because we have not thrown any sport at them yet. We just want them to be good physical specimens. Now, unfortunately, physical education, I struggle to get anybody to say anything good about physical education in this country. I'm not saying anything bad, right?
No.
So, no, the consensus is that we are not doing enough.
Right.
And we think that the books is all there is in terms of education in our country. In actual fact, physical education, the word education is there for a reason, right? That is the reason why when you have the balance between education and sports, physical education, then you come up with a citizen who is well balanced and knows what is his place in the scheme of things in terms of for the country and all that.
It's good that you mentioned about this, because this is a kind of quite a spontaneous talking point of sorts when you talk about pressure and everything. And I just want to draw our attention towards Malaysian football, because we know that another pressure that is added because it's always being watched by the public, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw JDT's dominance in the M League. I mean, not just this year alone. I mean, for the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about education, performance, and having a good backup
Yeah.
or strategy. Maybe I just want your take. What factors do you think contributed to Joho's exceptional performance?
You mean apart from money? Right? So, okay, let's put it this way. No, it's not about money. It's how well you spend the money.
Yeah.
Right.
And I take my hats off to JDT. Right? They got the money and they spend it well. But in the long term, the thing that concerns me is not about dominance. It's about competitiveness. Right? For you to flourish, and if you want to really uplift Malaysian sport and football, as we're talking about it, then you have to make the other teams competitive so that it will spur you to become ever improving, to improve all the time. Otherwise, you end up being a big fish in a small pond.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that they have done well at Asian level as well, yes?
Yeah.
So that's something to be recognized as well. So I believe that if all the authorities, in this scheme of things, if they were going to work together, and not to gain dominance from anybody else, but to uplift competitiveness. I think I can say, if it's not a confidential matter anyway, I was part of the technical committee once with FAM. And I think before there was a change in the power structure and all that, suddenly
Right.
I was no longer in the technical committee. But the thing that we discussed at that point, that they themselves, to their credit, FAM, we were looking at our league, yes, right? So we wanted to see. We were discussing very fervently. We wanted to see the preparation for the football players. So we wanted to audit. What is it that you did? Your pre-season preparations, how your injury management is, how your nutrition and all. You know why? Because sometimes they take it as if they're doing the same old things that people have been doing so far, and they expect progress. So it doesn't jive, you see.
I want to spill over to
Yep.
M League salaries.
Okay. Okay. This is a issue that from been years, and the sad part is you don't see a solution to it, despite the solution is just staring them in the face. You don't spend more than you earn. You need to. A football team is one, managing the club and managing the players. I think managing the players, we can see Johor Darul Takzim, they are doing that, managing the players. But to manage the players, you have to manage the club. You need to think about revenue. You need to think about your budgeting. There is that part is where we don't see. Maybe now we can see fans are looking at their clubs and demanding a proper signing fee, transfer, be transparent with what you're doing, how much the player's earning. We see in Europe, it'll be announced, this player is getting X amount of salary on per week. In Malaysia, we don't see that. We need that transparency. And football salary issue is very simple. You don't buy things that you can't afford. It's as simple as that. And if we see the Malaysian Football League, the league organizers, they have conducted workshops, how to run things. They call all these specialists from AFC to educate these clubs how you should have your club run, your revenue, your account, your budget, your media, social media training. So everything is there. The problem now we have with owners or club administration who don't follow or don't do what they're supposed to do. If you follow to the word on the book, we would have no problem. Simple as that.
Dato', how can we ensure better accountability for this, club owners, basically?
I think there's fundamentally there's no difference between managing a football team, yes, and managing national sports, because you still have the two things. The program management, that means managing the football club, the business side, yes, the dollars and cents of the whole thing. But then it's all about the performance of the team. If the team is not prepared well, and you have not sourced the best players you can afford, yes, and pay them according to how much you can afford, yes, and keep them happy and performing well, Now the thing is, they've got. Let's talk about injury management with football. I've had a period when I've got football players from states coming to see me. Yes, and when I look at that, number one, there's always this pressure to get them back on the field, and then because they are losing bonuses, right, and the pressure from management, then they return to play prematurely. Then they come back injured, or they don't come back injured, but because they have to manage within themselves the pain and the swelling and all that, so the performance comes down, and then they are judged as not performing, and then they run into trouble with contract situations, so on and so forth. You see, so I feel that national football would definitely benefit if club football would to take seriously, number one, physical, physiological, psychological preparation of the football players, and the injury management. Okay, then you can get better performance. Nowadays, it's not just about sending the team for pre-season tournaments somewhere and all that. Even the big leagues like the English Premier League, the German league, even the Spanish La Liga and all that, they struggle to do this because there's so many things to get it right. And then you multiply that by the number of people in the squad. The goalkeepers will need certain requirements, the midfield players, the defenders, the strikers, so on and so forth. And then you've got several layers, right? You've got the bench, and then the second 11 or whatever you got. Like Manchester City, you've got two 11s, two starting 11s anyway. So, but the most important thing is that we have to learn what is right and then adapt it to our conditions, because you cannot just simply take a system or process from other leagues and all that and then expect them to work here, because sometimes the things that they do, they have planned for so many years, number one, and they are able to resource. They have good financial resources. Yes, that is why the situation will never improve much.
Okay.
Improve much. It will improve, yes,
Right.
from 167 to 130, isn't it? Yes, that's improvement. Yes,
Yes, very fast, drastic, rapid.
That's the thing. I'm quite enthused, to see such a good improvement. But the thing is, you have to chart, and beyond that improvement, you must see ahead, at least 5 to 10 years. What is it that we need to do and then you have to have a target.
Again, to your point
And
earlier
milestones.
Right.
Milestones.
Right. I mean, football and salaries, conditions. When we're talking about conditions, we have to talk about facility conditions as well, right?
Okay.
Where players have to play. And let's also casually transition into where entertainment comes in. When we talk about football, we talk about the pitch. And when we talk about the pitch, we know that Malaysia has seen a lot of, controversies surrounding Bukit Jalil pitch. What are your thoughts in terms of managing Bukit Jalil pitch, calling for it being a sports venue, but we have to also see the potential of it being an entertainment venue, as how we see in international counterparts like America, for instance, like Super Bowl, and all that. Yeah.
I mean, what's the plan? Okay, the plan is for Bukit Jalil to be our national sports centre. Yes. Then I'm sure at a certain point. I remember last time, just to get to my point, when we used a sports centre belonging to university while we were preparing for the London Olympics. So we were preparing for a tournament at Wembley as a test tournament, and we used Bath University's sports village. Now we were talking to the managers and all that. They said they spent 55 million pounds to build the centre. Okay, and it was a really good centre, and it's worth 55 million pounds. You can see. Because when you use the door latch, it doesn't give way, no? It doesn't break down, so on and so forth. Really good quality. Now, the thing is, tellingly they say, but they have also set aside 10% of the 55 million, that means a further 5.5 million to upkeep the place. Right? Over the next few years and also. So this is something that we feel that sometimes when we want to do something, we have to have a long-term vision of things.
Planning.
It doesn't help when management changes hands, right? Between this bunch and that bunch and that bunch, so on and so forth. Nothing to do with politics. It's just about different sets of people. And then when they change over, they never actually hand over properly. You know, in my case, I never had a proper handing over to my successor. You see? You know, I was aching to tell him, you know, this is what I did. I had this is my strengths and these are my shortcomings. I hope you can do better. Because the key to all of this is people who take over from you, you hope, you pray that they will do better than you ever did.
The problem here, is what you're trying to say, if I can reiterate, is just, it's a legacy issue lah. I mean, it's not a legacy, but passing the legacy on and maintaining that legacy.
Well, you know, we are not immortal beings, you know.
Right.
At the end of the day, we will be questioned about what we do in this world. Yes? We must remember, whatever you believe in. So the most important thing is you must always try to prepare for the next generation to do better. So in this case, for example, if you look at the facility, let's talk in principle, yes? Right? So you have a facility, that facility has to have a certain range of functions. For example, firstly, it's a sports facility. Okay, if it's a sports facility, can you just make it more profitable by having concerts, you know, or other events that will bring in revenue, yes, income to the stadium management, and it is something which is good. It is positive. But then, what the right hand does, the left hand must know. Okay, you cannot have suddenly a concert which will decimate the ground, and then have a football match right after that.
Right.
So you know, how does this happen? So this is in principle something that will be disastrous.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So as it turns out, there's a lot of talk about this. I'm not going to say anything about recent events, but the most important thing, this is a fundamental issue.
Okay, if you're not going to say it, I'm going to say it. So I mean, because we're okay to say it because it's reported anyway. So if those who don't already know, what we're talking about is, you know, the Coldplay concert, which took place right before a particular football match, the Malaysian Cup final, that is, where 85,000 fans flooded the National Bukit Jalil Stadium to watch British rock band Coldplay. Now, the concert itself actually draw a lot of positives, but the negative aspect is the pitch. And the one that is, you know, being shot at is our PSM, our Malaysia Stadium Corporation, basically. And of course, in that line of fire is Dato' Hans Isaac, right? Since we're already talking about, you know, concert venues and events that transpired for the past year, Tahir, maybe you can also highlight to us what other concert events that draw our attention.
Nothing can beat Coldplay's concert, where, you know, 85,000 thronged the stadium to watch, and, you know, while the stadium was filled up, you know, there were reports that, you know, some ticket buyers who cannot make it, they were listening to the concert from outside. Okay, let's say, you know, Malaysian, I think the only Malaysian who can pull that kind of crowd would be Datuk Sri Siti Nurhaliza.
Right. I mean, I suppose we can talk about good vibes, right? Another controversy that draw our attention this year was good vibes. We saw the whole incident of British rock band 1979. Suddenly, I cannot remember. 75. But the frontman in question was Matt Healy, being rushed off stage after he went on a tantrum and condemned the government for the policies that was, you know, disclosed to him prior to his performance. I think it draw a lot of, I suppose, negativity, not because of the event conditions, but more on how he acted, because a lot of them went to the venue for music purposes.
Yeah, I think Good Vibes Festival, you know, it has been around for quite some time, and it has its own following. So I think people who attended the event were not necessarily 1975 fans, but they are more of followers of the festival.
From 1975 75 event, how can we move forward to ensure that, you know, Malaysia has what it takes to provide an entertainment experience that is beyond politics?
I think in recent years, we see that, especially after the pandemic, I think there are a lot of concerts happening, especially in KL. And more people are ready to go out and watch concerts. As to what happened with Matt Healy, that is beyond our control. We can, you know, the organizers, the authorities can
Stay more vigilant, you're trying
yeah,
to say?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, can do everything. But you know, when somebody throw a tantrum like this, the only thing you can do is just pull the plug.
It is uncalled for. I do see a lot of fans who are unhappy, and they are rightly unhappy with what he done, because he have spoiled the
mood.
the
The mood
festival,
and
the
everything.
mood, and everything is just gone because one irresponsible behavior. And
We have that sort of, even prior to
kill switch.
the kill switch, yes, the kill switch that the government actually enacted for Coldplay. Eventually, Coldplay's concert was great. But what wasn't great was the whole stadium issue lah. You're right to say, how are we supposed to predict or
Yes.
control the behavior of international artists coming in that doesn't necessarily understand the local context? So maybe the question here is, how can organizers better manage these acts, right?
I think that is, you know, what happened with 1975 was totally, I think, unexpected. Because you see, previously, you know, we had international performers who, you know, when they perform outside, they would be dressed, you know, scantily dressed. But when they come here, they are dressed properly.
Dato', do you follow whatever transpired in
I
the
have an
entertainment?
opinion.
Sorry?
I have an opinion.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm a musician as
Musician.
well.
Oh,
Okay, so-
wow. Man of many talents.
Yeah.
Brother is a composer.
So the thing is this: when you engage entertainers or performers to come, right? Number one, you have to discuss with them. You have so many fans who pay good money to see you, and you can then honor them by performing before them. Give a good performance. Every person will always honor a contract. You have to put on a contract. You have riders, right? I want M&Ms, only the green ones or whatever. Yes, I want Coca-Cola, not Pepsi, whatever, right? So they have certain demands. And then contractually, the organizers will say, these are the things you can do, these are things you cannot do, this is how you will dress. Do you accept? You accept? Then you have to comply with the. Now, if something is out there and it's already done, you cannot retract this. Everybody has seen it. So an apology is forthcoming. You have to apologize. Because at the end of the day, you're not apologizing for your own pride. You're apologizing for the fact that you have caused distress to your fans.
Right.
Right? And distress to the government that has so kindly let you into the country. So this is something that performers have their responsibility. And if this is not resolved properly, it will reflect badly on other countries, you know. Because Malaysia is not the only country they will welcome them for concerts and all that.
Right.
There are other countries watching. And other countries might be even stricter than Malaysia.
Correct. I mean,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
saw the spillover after that, right? Like
Yeah.
Taiwan actually stopping or cancelling the show in which 1975 was scheduled to go to. Of course, well, entertainment in 2023 saw a lot of controversies in domestically and internationally. Internationally, it also came from Singaporean comedian Jocelyn Chia when she made a very insensitive joke about the MH370. You know, she faced a lot of backlash, prompting UMNO youth to also protest at the US Embassy, and also led the Singapore's High Commissioner to Malaysia to express, you know, dismay over Chia's comments. Where are we at? Is she still angry at us, or are we still angry at her?
I think, you know, like when it happened, of course, everybody was angry with her. But I think Malaysian fans, we move on very fast. You know, after a while, you know, like nobody talks about her anymore.
Despite she trying to bait in, it was an unfunny joke.
Right.
at the first place.
What is it they say about bad publicity?
Yes,
It's still publicity.
publicity.
But she's bagging on that too, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
She's still trying to bait on that, and I think
Yeah.
Malaysians are smarter and just ignored her, and there she goes. Nobody knows about her anymore.
Right.
Can I talk to, can I just tie
Sure.
these two issues
Mm,
about
correct.
concerts and the field?
Correct.
Yes.
No, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I've been to concerts before, and one of the concerts I went to was Genesis at Old Trafford in 2007. I went to 3 concerts. One in Old Trafford, the other one was in the rugby stadium. Now, the thing I was intrigued was how they handle the Old Trafford concert, Twickenham. Now it's coming back, Twickenham Stadium. So the thing about this is that they had the concert just rightly in time, and you can damage the field as much as you like because they're going to return the thing. Right? So you do the damage, then return. Right? Not return and do the damage. You see? So this is something that we can learn from stadium management. The most important thing was that I saw people, taking up some of the Old Trafford turf, souvenir, precious souvenir. I'm not much of a Manchester United
You
fan. No?
would have done it in White Hart Lane.
No, you would have done it, no?
I would have done it.
But the fact of the matter is that this was something that you can foresee because you got a whole calendar coming up. You know who's coming and who's doing that. Then you return the thing according to the events you got. So I think it's about smart management, I think.
To add on to what Datu said, again, it is poor planning. You would know, they changed the grass in the National Stadium. You would know this type of grass, how long it would take to root up, how much sunlight it would need. When we had the previous pitch, we used cow grass. Yes, a lot of people are complaining about the type of grass we use, but what I see, that is the most suitable grass for the pitch. It worked for us. Then when we changed to a new grass, okay, there's uncertainty. Not all stadiums could accommodate the new type of grass. There was a lot of trial and error, but I think there's more science needed, more agriculture insight is needed to see, okay, how early could we have done this? If there's a delay, we need to accommodate concerts. So if I'm not mistaken, next year we have Ed Sheeran coming in, and next year we would have some World Cup qualifiers match coming up as well. It's close, so I could
learn from this.
So learn from this. Of course, I know the stadium board have been working hard. They have bought new techs. They have brought in specialists. But you can't let the lightning strike twice.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Hey, it's not rocket science, but sports is entertainment, and entertainment is sports. Malaysian entertainment did not just, for the past year, was not all about controversies. We also saw some wins, especially for our local talents. One of it is Michelle Yeoh winning an Oscars, and that's the first for her in her decades career.
This, although it wasn't from a movie made by
a Malaysian
production.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. But she's still a Malaysian. So at least we can say that, hey, a Malaysian girl won an Oscar. And this year, not only she won an Oscar, in July, she got married.
Oh, yes.
And finally, after 19 years of being engaged, or 19 years being together with John Todd. And recently she came back and she threw a wedding banquet for, for her family in Ipoh. So I think 2023 was quite a good year for her. Yeah.
On the domestic front, we've also have Bel Ngasri winning the Anugerah Bintang paling popular, Anugerah BH Bintang popular, right? ABPH. So Bel Ngasri is one of those, I suppose, child actors in Malaysia that a lot of people have been rooting for since day one, and that win meant so much.
Okay, Bel, I think I've seen him because he's, like you said, he's been a child actor. So, we are about of the same age as well. So I've been seeing him on TV since forever. But all this while, he's been playing a lot of characters, be it comedy or, serious and all that. But I think, we Malaysian, we always, it's always we want full package,
Or to win an award, or to be revered. like that.
Yeah, to be revered, to win an award is something else.
So the pressure is not just in sports, but it's also in entertainment. It's like
Yes.
basically when you're in the
Yeah.
spotlight, you all need that, I
Understood,
suppose.
Before this, he had never been rewarded with any award. So, when finally he got his chance,
Yeah, he actually did a whole roadshow about it, and he gave back, right, or something like that. He
Yeah.
did a lot of things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of like outreach.
yeah, he's very likable character. He's very likable person, and he's, I think he's most popular for his Bakoba character.
To add on, he's someone that you grow up with, and you always want to root someone that you know to win. So he get that popular vote, and like Abang Tahir said, he's just a likable person. His personality is there, always humble. Even I'm from a sports guy, and I know this guy. Hey, he's a friendly person. I want him to win. He's like everyday Joe. He's like someone like us when we see him
Right.
growing up, right?
Right.
So yeah, good for him. Happy to see him win something.
So I just also want to go through like the rounds of wins that Malaysia also has, especially when it comes to film on the international front. Our indie film Tiger Stripes won at International Film Fest. Sumpahan Jerunai won 15 awards. I mean, I'm just going to go through in terms of our international accolades that we got lah.
Yes.
Abang Ade, and then Mekamoto, as well as Dane Said's Harum Malam. Now, actually, even for myself, I haven't seen all these films, but knowing that these Malaysian films got international recognition tells so much about like the potential of Malaysian talents, and how we should invest more, and not lose out to international counterparts. I think I just want to link it back to the whole conversation that we had today. Sometimes when we look into all our programs and initiatives to push actors, athletes, whoever lah, public figures, we tend to fail to realize their full potential only because we have our own set of goals. What sort of like empathy that should be given out to these people, at least for them to shine properly?
Okay, we see athlete success, but we don't see their struggle. There's always every single athlete. There's always a sad story. There's an injury, missing out family events, the struggle to wake up and go and do, repeat and improve. Doing it 365, it's not easy. It's the struggles. Some of the athletes, people will blame them. Hey, he just gave up. No, sometimes their body just breaks down. It's mentally and physically. The struggle is real, and the sad part, most of these athletes, they only have that sports. They don't have a life outside of that sports. It's very bleak for them. If I fail, this is end of me. For normal people, if I fail in my career, there's another door for me. I can do something else. But when it comes to the athletes, their career is not long. It's short, and then there's injuries. Maybe for footballers, unpaid wages. There's a lot of obstacles that people don't see. We hype up athlete for a very short period of time, maybe 30, 40 years of their... If you're good, you could maximum have your career as a sportsman for 15 years, 20 years. After that, everyone's forgotten.
Right.
You don't recall athletes who have done well in the 70s, 80s. They are dying breed, and we don't give them the recognition they need. Even the current generations, even harder, because everyone's the span of remembering something is shorter. The empathy that we need to give when athlete is successful, yes, but we need to see the struggles, the sacrifices, and their life post sports career.
Right. Dato', you want to add on to that?
When we come up with programs to manage athletes, the one that stood a really good chance of actually changing the whole culture and then landscape of athlete management was the podium program, the original one, not the one that has
There's
it's
so
currently-
many.
Yeah, I if we look at the intention in the beginning, that podium program did not just look at the athlete's performance, prospects and all that. They also look at the life of the athlete. Are you working? Are you studying? Right? So that the idea was to make whatever that they're doing, merge together in a way that will not only look at them in terms of their prospects and performances on the sporting field, but also in their lives. So the most important thing is that holistic approach has to be continued, has to be championed. And the fact of the matter is that if we are going to feel that we have a right to bask in reflected glory when they win, we have an obligation, okay, to them as athletes and to their lives overall, to make it work overall, so that they will not come many years after, I don't have a job, I need the money.
Lost my life.
You know the amount of strain that Yayasan athlete Kebangsaan have on their coffers? They're getting a certain amount of money, but they have to entertain requests for medical treatment, right? For injury, past. So I feel that if you're missing a trick, you know, when you feel that you are only looking at the sports that the athletes are having when they are active at their peak, and you're not putting anything back into the times when they can be active still beyond their peak. For example, senior sports, masters competitions.
Right.
You can still contribute so that they can remain healthy as active athletes. You see.
I think it's also similarly in the whole cinema area, right?
In the entertainment industry, where after you pass your prime, then you started losing job, which is still a problem in the entertainment industry today.
Yeah. I think as we conclude this, right, we should look into all these wins. It's good that we have this critical dialogue of sorts, so that we can assess where we should improve on. The past year, both in sports, entertainment, brought us a lot of contemplations. Where we can excel, where we should stop, where should at least revisit, as you mentioned. With the whole podium program. Unfortunately, that's the only time we have. I know it's very hard to wrap everything in just an hour, but I want to thank all my panel members today. I've got Rajan here. Thank you so much. I've got Dato' Ramlan as well here, as well as Tahe. To our audience back at home, again, if you like Beyond the Headlines, please do follow us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, suggest more topics of interest. This is our last episode for the year. To our audience back at home, have a very happy
New Year.
Bye.